Hey, good morning on this lovely Friday morning. Thank you guys for joining us. Today, we're going to bring you an update on the SBA's latest PPP, the Payroll Protection Program loan. And we've got Jerry Bazata with us to bring us up to speed. Jerry, thank you for joining me today.
Hey, good morning, John. Thank you. This is probably going to be one of our best updates ever. And this is something that we've heard rumors about, within the industry. We heard changes were coming about regarding self-employed individuals. And I think a lot of people are going to be excited to hear what we have to share, and maybe even a big sigh of relief we will hear throughout the industry. So let's get right into it.
I think so. And before we get there, a few weeks back when the farmers in our area, because we have they were talking about this concept in their world. And when I was hearing about that, I'm thinking to myself, would the DJ industry rock if it would happen there? And that's what we're going to be talking about today. So let's jump into it.
Okay, so as many of you heard, the SBA has been kind of looking at really targeting small business owners. So the second round of PPP that came out was really focused in on the small business owners. And that really kind of hit our industry, the wedding industry, the mobile DJ industry. And so this latest change has a number of significant benefits to it. Number one, when you look at sole proprietorships, it was always based on net income. So you were being compared to other industries out there. What has happened is SBA is now giving you the choice. So hopefully everybody that's listening, grab a piece of paper and a pencil, because you're going to want to document this. Number one, you have the choice now when applying for a PPP loan under either rounds 1 or rounds 2. You can either go off gross income on your Schedule C,
which is up here,
or is top line number 7. So if I am a mobile DJ and I billed out to my clients, or I had signed contracts and got paid for $40,000 worth of business, you can now qualify for PPP based on the $40,000 worth of business that you booked. Or you can choose to do the net income. Now, I'm going to walk you through both, and that's the bottom line. Yep, that's the line 31. So for many of us who, yes, we are small business owners, we operate out of our homes, or we operate out of a small little location, we're on Schedule C. So I want to be clear. This isn't partnership returns. This is not sub-S corporations. This is your 1040 in the Schedule C that you file. So that's requirement number 1. When you look at it for either round 1 or round 2, you can use your net income or gross income from either 2019 or 2020. For many of us, it's probably going to be 2019. So let's walk through an example, John. Mm-hmm. I am a DJ business owner. In 2019, I earned $50,000 worth of income on the gross line number 7. I have no employees. I have no 1099 employees. It is just me. I'm going to take the $50,000, divide that by 12, and multiply that by 2.5. And John, what is it that I can apply for?
$10,416.66.
Okay. So that's what you will now be able to apply for. So you can do that. If you did have some 1099 employees, you're going to need to deduct the 1099 employees from the gross income. So if you did have a couple of people, you need to deduct that. And SBA has outlined that in the new application. So as of today, all of the fintechs, secondary market lenders, all the banks have uploaded the 2 new applications to their websites. There is a new one, and it does specifically address the Schedule C. So you have to make sure, if immediately you're on your computer and you're starting to go out to your bank, you want to look for either the PPP round 1 application, which has a subheading to it, Schedule C, for either round 1 or round 2. All right. If you choose to do net income, again, you're going to do the same procedure. The net income divided by 12, multiplied by 2.5. There are some caveats. The maximum that you can apply for under the gross income is capped at $100,000. So if you had income of 150,000, you need to reduce it down to 100,000, divide by the 12, multiply by 2.5. You clearly need to indicate on the application whether you are going off of gross income or net income. And it's very simple. It's fill in the boxes, fill in the amounts, check the boxes. You will need to supply to them the Schedule C, and there's 2 pages to it, with the application when you apply. Okay, so if you're going to apply with 2019, you need to include the 1040 Schedule C, both pages, with the application. If you had a better year in 2020, okay, you can apply with the 2020 tax returns. You don't have to file it, but you would have had to complete it and certify that, yes, this is what you're going to file with IRS.
Now, Jerry, now, if I had a better year in 2020, that would have actually disqualified me, though, for the second PPP.
It's going to disqualify you for the second PPP,
but
because,
not the
and
first.
John, you're one step ahead of me.
Yeah.
If you are applying for round 1, you have the opportunity to apply for round 2 as long as you certify that you've used the money. And this really gets into a tricky part because we're into a short time frame. The expiration of the PPP2 program as it stands right now is March 31st. So you're going to have to start to apply pretty quickly if you're going to look for both rounds. And if you're going to go for both rounds, when you go for the second round, if you are using, again, your 19 income, you need to show that 25% reduction either year over year, which is probably going to be the simplest, comparing 19 to 20 than trying to break out quarters.
For sure.
So, yeah. So you have the ability to do that.
So for people who haven't, they looked at the first round and it went off line 31 on their Schedule C, and because of all the write-offs and such, there was nothing virtually there, or it was a negative number. They didn't qualify for the first round. Now, going off line 7, they would qualify. Is there anything then beyond line 7? I mean, they don't have to prove the 25% loss for round 1.
No, it's in round 1, you don't have to worry about the 25% round. So for many of us who were cut out of the first round because we had either negative income or not enough to apply for, okay, this is giving you a chance to recoup, be able to apply for what you couldn't apply for in round 1. For those in round 2, all right, where you're going for the second round, yes, maybe your net income was, say, $10,000 and you only got $2,500 or $2,000. You're now applying for round 2. You can now apply for the larger amount. You're still going to have to show the reduction, which I think everybody qualifies for that, because I don't know a lot of us that made more money in 2020 than we did 19. You can apply for it based on your 19 numbers. So you have a lot of flexibility here. So, John, if there's questions popping up, why don't we stop there, because it was a lot of information.
We got some stuff coming in. So the big question, and I know we were going to get to this one, is if you had already gotten the second draw, have you heard anything about if they're going to adjust the second draw?
No. The only way you can get is you've got the second draw already. You can't go back and adjust it. But if you have an application in process with your bank, you can go to the bank and ask if you can modify the application.
Okay, excellent.
Now, I'm going to tell you that's going to be based upon the bank itself. That is, SBA is not making it a rule that they have to go back and adjust. It's going to be up to their own bank. But the SBA will allow us for applications in process to make those adjustments. But you need to call your bank or get a hold of your bank, find out where your application is and how you can adjust it.
You mentioned for those who could take the first draw right now and then to turn around and try to do the second draw. The first one, they had to spread payroll over so many weeks. How is that going to work here if you're trying to do bing bing back to back?
That's going to be the difficult part, and I really can't say how that's going to happen. SBA will allow you to almost apply for a second round right after. But again, it's the demonstration of how you use it. And I want to kind of avoid that because I don't want to get into well, this is how you do it. This is how you structure, because I don't know what
So
SBA's rules are.
it's not super clear on how that's going to work out.
Not super clear. What I think we're hoping is maybe there'll be an extension to it, which will help those that didn't get the first round also apply for a second round.
Okay.
All right. Really, John, and I want to make this clear to everybody that's listening. What I'm really trying to focus in on here for those is those that just haven't been able to get it because they had no income, they had a net loss. A lot of the guys, and I think of this as I was reading through this, a lot of the guys who have ladies and gentlemen, who have gotten into this in the first couple of years, and we know as a small business owner, maybe this was part-time income that a lot of us relied upon to help support our families, that we lost all this income as part-time DJs, that now we can kind of recover some of this income that we would have been able to support ourselves. So
yes,
that's really kind of the benefit behind this. And that's what I'm really looking at this point. So
some more questions coming in here, Jerry. Chris was asking about a simplified forgiveness application. Is that part of something the bank does, or is that something coming from the SBA?
Okay, let me clarify the simplified application. What the simplified application is, they took the original PP loan forgiveness application, which was probably 10 pages in total, and put it down to 1 page. But it does not negate you from having to provide the supporting documentation that you use the money for payroll purposes or to pay rent or whatever the breakdown is. So the simplified application is just easier to fill out. It doesn't negate you from your responsibility of proving that you use the money for payroll purposes.
Excellent. Somebody's asking about 2 pages to a Schedule C. They're only aware of 1 page on a Schedule C.
There is a second page which talks about your other expenses and your cost of goods. So a Schedule C does have 2 pages.
Yep, and I was going there.
Yeah.
Let's see. So if someone files they have multiple businesses and they're filing multiple Schedule Cs. Let's say they have Joe's DJ here, and they have in their family maybe Monica's photo booth here, but they're 2 separate Schedule Cs. Could they both file for PPP now?
Yep. That is a clarification. So if you have multiple Schedule Cs and each business has its own tax ID number, now combined, if you have the same tax ID, so I'm going to use me. Say I had Jerry Bazata DJ service, and then I had Jerry Bazata photo booth, and then I had Jerry Bazata photographer, because I was one of those talented individuals out there.
Mm-hmm.
I would file an application under each Schedule C. They would be considered affiliates or related entities. There is a $2 million cap on that, which I'm sure none of us would get to, but you're going to have to do a separate application for each Schedule C.
Okay. And
we often see that, maybe I'm going to refer to a DJ I know in Maine. He is a DJ, his wife is a photographer. They both have separate Schedule Cs. So she's going to file under her Schedule C for the PPP. He's going to file under his Schedule C.
Excellent. Let's see. When they say the loan or grant can be forgiven, if it cannot be paid back, will it still become a negative on our credit report?
Okay, clearly, commercial loans, SBA loans are never reported on your credit. But I am going to tell you, and put this in capital letters, if you ever default on an SBA loan, I can probably tell you no bank is ever going to lend to you. And you will never get another SBA loan again. So if we, God forbid, should ever be in this situation, which I hope none of us see in our lifetime again, and you applied for any SBA grants or you applied for any loans and you've defaulted on a government obligation, Charlie the loan shark on the corner of Main and 3rd Street is probably going to be your best avenue.
Another question, Jerry. Should we go through, and there must be talking about the first draw here, should we go through our regular business bank, or should we go through a different bank who does more PPP loans?
No, go through your regular business bank. Every bank out there is doing the PPP loans. We've all got it streamlined. We're all doing it online. So most banks are offering to take on new clients. But being a banker myself, if somebody came to me and said, I'd like to do the PPP loan with you, and I don't have a relationship, we're going to ask them to establish a relationship with us before they do the loan. So you're better off going through your own bank. You have a relationship with that bank, whether it's the branch manager, whether it's somebody in customer service. They know you, they know who you are. You know, you're not going to flip to another bank, or you're going to flip to a fintech. And some of the fintechs out there are great. Lindo is doing a great job. I know Square has been offering to do it. They've been doing a great job. There are some non-bank lenders, and they were like the ones who got in this round two, were the ones who were able to submit first for people in certain categories. They were allowed to go into the program first. So there's a lot of great out there, but don't jump ship just because you think you can get it through faster somewhere else. Work with your current bank. If you've got a relationship, they're working with you. I will tell you that here where I am, I mean, we're getting stuff pretty much turned around, you know, within a week, and getting quick responses from SBA and working with our clients. So, you know, don't dump your bank just thinking you get it faster somewhere else.
So a question, and we covered this earlier, Scott, but I just have Jerry. Is it too late to file for your first or second round?
No, you have until March 31st.
Excellent.
Okay.
Excellent.
Yep.
Let me just keep going here. So, next question is from the first round, they only qualified for $1,000, and for the second round, using our numbers, they're going to qualify for about $15,000. Is that going to look weird with the IRS?
No, because again, the IRS, first of all, the IRS isn't involved in this. So nobody from the IRS is looking over the SBA or bank's shoulders. Okay. Again, these loans are forgiven. It doesn't matter. You followed the rules that you are eligible for. Okay. IRS is a whole nother consideration here. Okay. Because the IRS isn't involved in the PPP program. The IRS is involved in your taxes. What the SBA has said is, and what the federal government under the CARES Act has said, we realize that for sole proprietorships, because of the tax implications and the fact that any business owner is going to look to mitigate their tax liability as much as they can, how do we give them the benefit? They understand, you know, when we as bankers, when I look at a loan for a small business owner who has a Schedule C, and they immediately start to tell me, well, you know, I have to tell you that I run all my stuff through this in my house. We get it. And it's finally, we got it. People sat up and said, we understand small business owners. This is really part of their personal life. Mm-hmm. And this is part of their lifestyle. So they've now taken this into consideration. Had we hoped this would have come out sooner? Yes. But I think for many of us who were shut out of the first round, this is now a chance to recover some of that money that you lost in the first round, okay, that you were not able to apply for, that was income to you, that was income to support your family, to pay your expenses. Sure. So we've done it. So don't overthink this. Get the application, fill it out, copy your Schedule C, and submit the application.
If it's not forgiven, interest rate, what would the interest rate be on that? Because it is a loan until forgiven.
It's the interest rate is at 5% and it's payable over 2 years.
Okay.
Now, John, let's everybody's focusing on forgiveness. Okay. I have every one of my customers that I have helped through the PPP process. Okay. Hundreds. I have not seen one that has not been not forgiven. Mm-hmm. Yes, I have some very large ones that are taking longer because they're going through audits. But and again, if you can just demonstrate via checks, payroll records, bank statements that you use the money to pay yourself, it's going to be forgiven.
Payroll.
Okay.
Yep. Paper trail.
Right. I have a sole proprietorship who was forgiven. They sent the bank statement. They wrote themselves a paycheck. They gave me the bank statement. They gave me the canceled checks, and they got forgiven. People have to stop overthinking this process. And I say that with a lot of sincerity in my heart, that it is, again, as long as you can demonstrate that you used it to pay yourself, And in the sole proprietorship rule, they know it goes from business account to personal account. There's no magic in between. So long as you can show a check, and I told people just down the bottom, right? Weekly payroll. That's all you need to do.
So when this person's the formula, if they use line 7, they would subtract all their 1099 labor.
Yep.
Then divide by 12, multiply by 2.5, and that would be an estimate of their what they could file for.
Yep.
Okay. Next question. Somebody is, and I'm not sure what this acronym. I'm guessing it is WOMPLY. WOMPLY is Womply. Good.
I have no idea what they're.
Scott. Yep, Scott. If you could be more clear on that, clear that up a little bit. Ask the question again. Somebody is asking a question, and let's talk about because this is something in Minnesota we're having to deal with right now, is the money that came into businesses for the PPP. Is that taxable at the federal level? And then have you experienced that out there?
No, we understand the money is not taxable at the federal level, but the expenses that you use to pay this for is deductible. There was this argument back and forth that was in the media that if you received PPP money and you used it for payroll, you weren't going to be able to deduct those payroll expenses on your tax returns. And no, that's been reversed. I've heard at the state level that some states are trying to tax the PPP money. We had it in Maine. There was in Maine, the governor came out and said they were going to include that as part of your income, and then they backed off of it. So right now, what I understand is that, and I just completed my taxes. I did not get any PPP money, but there was a section asked, did you get any payroll protection money or this or that? I kind of went in and put like $1,000, and it didn't add it into the taxes. So I kind of tested it that way. I did mine through into it, and I didn't see any consequence from it. So
now,
but again, think of it this way here. And John, let's common sense it back. Okay. If we didn't have the pandemic, okay, and we didn't have all of this going on, you would have earned this money and you would have had to pay taxes on it.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. And so what people are saying is, well, I want to get this money. I want to get it forgiven, but I don't want to pay taxes on it. But yet it was income to me, but yet I'm going to write off the expenses against it. So just when you think common sense, and I'm not a tax accountant, I'm not a tax attorney, but just common sense says to me is you're getting replacement for the income that you would have earned that you would have been taxed on. But as of right now, so that person that asked that question, no, it's not being taxed.
Yeah, and we're having that discussion in Minnesota because the federal isn't taxing the business on the money coming in, and Minnesota yet still is taxing the business. And then, of course, once it's paid as payroll, then there's taxes on that payroll too.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm asking. States are going to vary on this. Most of them have lined up with the federal government on that for the business side of it.
Yeah. So, as we always say, there's two things you can't avoid in life: death and taxes.
There is that. How much? Somebody asked about how much you ask for. It's not so much how much you ask for. You fill in the application, you put in your Schedule C, and it pops out. It's not like you're doing much of the work beyond getting the documentation there.
Right. So again, how much you ask for. You're not going in and applying for a loan. You're being qualified for federal SBA disaster assistance relief based on your records. So if you're 1099, the figure you work through with 50,000, okay? If you put on the application that, you're asking for 30,000 when you only qualify for 10, the bank's going to reject the application because they're going to go through the calculation. That's what the bank and the fintechs are doing, is they're verifying and validating your application before it gets to the SBA. So in this particular case, the person that says, I qualify for 10, but I want to ask for 50. Well, when it gets to me, I'm going to look at it and go, did your calculator break? No, they only qualify for 10. So I'm going to send the application back and go, you only qualify for 10. Will you certify that this is what I can submit? If you tell me, no, you're not going to do it, then your application is dead in the water.
Scott in the questions here is referring to a PIN code with the IRS. That's not involved with this.
That has nothing to do with this application.
So, and he's referring to that someone stole his social security number and he's got some identity theft issues going on. So, Scott, that might be beyond our pay grade for this show.
Yes, that's way beyond our pay grade for this show.
Yeah, we're not going to dig into that one too terribly much, and I'm sorry to hear that for you, man. That would suck. But
I feel bad, Scott. But again, we want to focus in on this. Is nothing to do with IRS. This is the SBA PPP program, and how people can qualify for greater assistance.
When will many of the banks, now I just went to our bank that we have been working with, and they have the online portals and such, and I went through because I could and log in, and they don't have it updated. When do you think some of the secondary banks, and I say that the big ones probably were like right on it and jumping on it because they've got a bigger team. When do you expect some of the smaller banks to be making the changes?
Probably through the weekend, John. My best guess is most of us are jumping on this right away. And again, I would say call your bank and just say, look, I'd like to apply. I know the rules have changed for Schedule C sole proprietorships, and they'll guide you through it. So that's why I go back to our earlier discussion about why it's so important to continue that relationship with your existing bank and to work with your existing bank or existing lender, because they can help you through the process. The applications were revised by the SBA on March 3rd. We've been getting flooded with communications between yesterday and today to be able to have that done. Most banks are going to have to work with their software vendors to upload it into whatever system they're using. We were told for here where I work, it'll be uploaded by tonight. So we'll probably see an influx starting to come in on Monday, Tuesday. So.
And somebody said, if I haven't filed my 2019 taxes yet, can I still file those and apply?
Yes.
Okay.
But hurry up. Yeah.
There's end of March is the deadline.
Yeah.
And
end of March is the deadline.
And will that be the end for both draws, the first and second draw?
That's the end at this point. The government has mandated that the period will expire. Now, we've known they've done extensions. There's still a lot of money out there. The other thing, John, that I want to make clear is that during this next week, and I think it goes into the following week, so please don't quote me on this and put it on the billboard. Right now, SBA is limiting applications to companies with 20 or less employees. So let me walk through that. I have a company that has 100 employees. I can still submit a PP application to my bank. The bank just cannot submit it to the SBA.
Okay.
Right? But if I have 20 or less employees, I submit it to the bank validates the application. IRS will accept that application. So right now what IRS is not IRS, here we go. So many people asked about it. SBA, get rid of the IRS. SBA has said they're focusing in right now on small businesses. So 20 or less employees are getting priority in their system for approval of PPP loans.
I think we got one final question, Jerry, and we're going to let you go. Somebody was asking about, they heard that some businesses qualify for 2.5 times their monthly income, and some are 3.5 times their monthly income. What's the differentiation between those two?
The differentiation is that the SBA has identified certain SIT codes that are within the hospitality or severely impacted. Most of those are either retails that begin with 4.8, restaurants that begin with 7.2, and there's a few other ones out there. The bank, if they notice that your SIT code qualifies for the 3.5, they will adjust it for you. And you can also go out to the SBA website and they will give you a listing of all the SIT codes that fall into that category. But the majority of them are either begin with 4.8 or 7.2. For the DJ industry, 99% of us are all going to be under the 2.5 months.
Yeah, that's what I was seeing also as I ran through it.
And if you want, what they're going to go off of is you look at your Schedule C in the upper right-hand corner, you will see what your NAICS code is. So you can actually take that NAICS code, go out to the website, and under SBA PPP loans, you can look and you can see whether that NAICS code qualifies for the 3.5 months.
And in that upper right-hand corner, there's two numbers, one right above the other. The bottom number is going to be your employee identification number, the number the IRS will use to identify your business. The one above that is what Jerry's talking about.
Yep, it says clearly NAICS code right there, so you can't miss it.
Perfect. Jerry, we're going to bounce here because a half hour. I wanted to keep it tight because you got a busy day and such. And thank you.
I got to work on this stuff, so that's great.
Thank you so much for coming on and sharing some information and some great news for the mobile DJ and photo booth industry and Schedule C businesses across the board. And if there's anything else that comes up, reach out and we'll be back again with any other updates on what's going on with the PPP loans.
And one final thing, John, I'm going to ask all of those people that are watching here as you go out. This will be, again, we'll have this on the network, but certainly share this within your industry groups. If you're a member of, say, the Maine Wedding Association or a member of New England Wedding Professionals, share this out there because this is information we want to get out to a lot of people because I think this affects a major portion of the wedding and mobile bead industry. So
yeah, exactly. Yep. There's just a lot of people, small businesses in every community. There might be some neighbors of yours who are running small businesses that this could help that have nothing to do with entertainment, but it opens doors.
Yep. Small business is the lifeblood of America, and this is a great help to all of us. So everyone out there, thank you for your attention. Get those questions to John, and we'll be glad to follow up wherever we can.
Sounds great, Jerry. Jerry, you have yourself a great day, and thank you guys for watching. We will catch you next time. Bye, everyone.
Thanks, guys.